Welcome back to the latest video on my channel. In the past 24 hours, we have received sad news about the passing of some extraordinary talents. In today's episode, we dedicate this time to honor their memories and celebrate the legacies of these remarkable individuals. Before we begin, we kindly ask for your support. If this video or their legacy has touched your life, please give it a like and subscribe the channel as a sign of respect. Thank you. Here are the most recent deaths in national news as reported as my channel in the June 5 of 2025. My channel is where you can find any obituary or publish an obituary in any local community in America and beyond. Pippa Scott, born Pippa Scott on November 10, 1934 in Los Angeles, California, was an American actress whose career spanned over 5 decades, leaving an indelible mark on both film and television. She was the daughter of actress Laura Straub and screenwriter Alan Scott, and the niece of blacklisted screenwriter Adrian Scott. Wayne Lewis, April 13, 1957, June 5, 2025, was a founding member and lead vocalist of the R&B band Atlantic Starr. Born in White Plains, New York, he co-founded the group in 1976 alongside his brothers David and Jonathan, as well as other musicians including Porter Carroll Jr., Clifford Archer, and Joseph Phillips. Enzo Staiola, 1939-2025, was an Italian actor best known for his role as Bruno Ricci in the 1948 neo-realist classic Bicycle Thieves, Ladri di Biciclette, directed by Vittorio De Sica. At just 8 years old, Staiola was discovered on the streets of Rome and cast for his distinctive walk and expressive eyes, which De Sica believed would convey the emotional depth needed for the film. Sasha Jenkins, 1971-2025, was an influential American journalist, filmmaker, and cultural curator, renowned for chronicling hip-hop, graffiti, punk, and metal cultures. Born in Philadelphia and raised in Astoria, Queens, Jenkins was immersed in New York City's vibrant creative scene from an early age. Marc Garneau, 1949-2025, was a Canadian astronaut, naval officer, and politician who made significant contributions to Canada's space program and public life. Pippa Scott, an actress best known for playing one of the abducted girls in John Wayne's The Searchers, and for her prominent part in the 1970s police drama Jigsaw John, died May 22, 2025, of congenital heart failure at her home in Santa Monica, California. Scott's studies at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in England helped bring her to Broadway, where she won a World Theatre Award in 1956 for Child of Fortune, her Broadway debut. That same year, she also made her silver screen debut, and it was a big one. She played one of John Wayne's nieces in the classic western The Searchers, starring opposite Natalie Wood in what is widely considered one of the best films of the genre. Scores of roles followed, including parts in Auntie Mame, Mission Impossible, The Waltons, The Twilight Zone, The Virginian, and many others. In 1976, she played Maggie Hearn on the short-lived police drama series Jigsaw John, after which her acting work slowed down. However, in 2006, Scott made her debut as a director when she made the documentary King Leopold's Ghost, a film about the exploitation of the Congo by the Belgian king of the same name. In fact, Scott was the founder of the International Monitor Institute, a nonprofit she formed in 1993 to help gather evidence of war crimes throughout the world, including in Congo, Iraq, Rwanda, and the Balkans. The organization currently works with the Human Rights Department at Duke University. King Leopold's Ghost won the Jury Award for Best Documentary Film at the 2006 Santa Barbara International Film Festival. Fan Ron Kelson said on Facebook, "She created a chemistry in Mame that helped bring it all together. Such a beautiful and talented actress." While user Jaxbra said on the social media platform X, "Even if you don't know her from her film career, if you were born in the 60s and grew up in the 70s, she was everywhere." Rest well, Pippa Scott. Wayne Lewis Obituary. Published by Legacy Remembers from June 9 to June 10, 2025. Wayne Lewis, founding member of the R&B group Atlantic Starr, who had hits in the 80s with Always, Circles, and Secret Lovers, died June 5, 2025, at the age of 68. No details on his death have been reported. Lewis was one of three Lewis brothers who formed Atlantic Starr in the late 1970s. His brothers David and Jonathan, along with collaborators that included longtime members Porter Carroll Jr., Clifford Archer, and Joseph Phillips, and singers Sharon Bryant and Barbara Weathers, formed the core of the band during their heyday, though the group would see close to 20 members come and go over the years. Lewis sang and played keyboards, and he co-wrote the band's biggest hits. Atlantic Starr first hit the R&B charts with their #2 hit Circles in 1982, but it was their 1987 hit Always that thrust them fully into the mainstream, hitting #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. My First Love and Secret Lovers also proved to be big crossover hits. When the single Masterpiece hit #3 on the pop and R&B charts in 1992, it marked the last major hit for the band. Though their hit-making days were behind them, Lewis and Atlantic Starr continued to tour and perform for decades, with dates booked through 2025. The band announced Lewis's passing on Instagram. Fans on Instagram responded to the news with memories of the music Lewis helped give them. "My first concert, thank you for the greatest musical experience," Leslie Sauls Mundy said, while Juana Harris posted, "Thank you for the music you gave us. Thank you for sharing your gift to the world." Enzo Staiola, a portrait of neorealism's innocent face. Enzo Staiola was born on November 15, 1939, in Rome, Italy, into a modest working-class family. His early years coincided with the upheaval and deprivation of World War II, which left deep scars on Italy, both physically and emotionally. It was in this post-war context scarred streets, poverty, and resilience that Staiola's brief but unforgettable career as a child actor would unfold. Unlike many who seek stardom, Staiola entered the film world by pure chance. His father worked at Cinecittà, Rome's film studio hub, and his mother sold fruits at a local stand. One day in 1947, while Enzo was playing in the street, he caught the attention of famed Italian director Vittorio De Sica, who was casting for a young boy to star in his upcoming film Ladri di Biciclette, Bicycle Thieves. De Sica, a key figure in Italy's neo-realist movement, was adamant about using non-professional actors to capture the raw, emotional truth of ordinary lives. In Staiola's soulful eyes, slouched posture, and watchful demeanor, De Sica found the essence of post-war Italian youth. At just 7 years old, Enzo Staiola was cast as Bruno Ricci, the son of Antonio Ricci, played by Lamberto Maggiorani, a poor man whose livelihood depends on his bicycle, which is soon stolen. The film follows father and son through a desolate Rome as they search for the bike, symbolizing both lost hope and crumbling dignity. While Maggiorani played the lead, it was Staiola's performance that truly anchored the film emotionally. His quiet but powerful presence, expressive eyes, and mature solemnity brought to life the silent tragedy of a child witnessing the collapse of a parent's pride. Released in 1948, Bicycle Thieves became a defining masterpiece of Italian cinema and one of the most influential films in global film history. It was awarded an honorary Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film and consistently appears on lists of the greatest films ever made. At its heart, it remains a story about a father and son, about poverty, desperation, and enduring love, and Enzo Staiola's portrayal of Bruno is central to that emotional core. Despite being a first-time actor, Staiola delivered his role with instinctive brilliance. Critics marveled at his naturalism. The New York Times called him firm and radiant, embodying the silent observation of childhood. De Sica, though known for eliciting emotional performances through unorthodox methods, some have claimed he used pinching or startling techniques on child actors, always maintained that Staiola had a genuine talent and sensitivity beyond his years. Following Bicycle Thieves, Staiola became a minor star in Italy, appearing in a string of films between 1949 and 1954. These included Volcano, 1950, alongside Anna Magnani, The White Line, Cuori Senza Frontiere, 1950, with Gina Lollobrigida, and The Return of Don Camillo, 1953, where he played the mischievous Mario. In 1954, he had a small role in the American film The Barefoot Contessa, starring Humphrey Bogart and Ava Gardner. Though these films were generally well received, none reached the acclaim or emotional resonance of Bicycle Thieves. Unlike many child actors who try to sustain their fame into adulthood, Stiola quietly retreated from the film industry. By the late 1950s, he had largely stopped acting. He resumed a private life, pursued education, and eventually became a mathematics teacher, reportedly proud of his academic career. Later, he worked as a land registry clerk in Rome for several decades. Stiola rarely gave interviews and preferred not to relive his brief celebrity. But when asked, he spoke warmly of his experience on Bicycle Thieves and especially of De Sica, whom he admired deeply. Stiola's post-acting life was marked by a quiet dignity, mirroring the characters he had once portrayed. He married a woman named Anna, with whom he had a son, Andrea. Though he no longer appeared in films, his legacy, cinephiles, film students, and directors around the world continued to watch his childhood performance in Bicycle Thieves as a study in authenticity, nuance, and heartbreak. The boy who had walked through Rome's shattered streets in search of a bicycle became a lasting emblem of cinematic truth. In occasional retrospectives or anniversaries of the film, Stiola would make appearances. In one 2023 interview shortly before his passing, he reflected, "Neorealism never really ended. It's about truth, and that never goes out of fashion." These words seemed fitting for someone whose greatest contribution came not from performance, but from presence, from being a real boy in a real world, with real heartbreak in his eyes. On June 4, 2025, Enzo Stiola passed away at the age of 85, reportedly due to complications from a fall. He died in Rome, the city that had shaped both his life and his greatest artistic moment. News of his passing was met with tributes from around the globe. Italian newspapers and international outlets like The Washington Post and The Guardian called him the heart of neorealism, and one of the last living links to a movement that changed cinema forever. Stiola's funeral was held in Garbatella, the same Roman neighborhood where he was born. It was a modest affair, attended by family, friends, and film enthusiasts. Many noted that the eyes of the boy from Bicycle Thieves wide, observant, vulnerable still, watched them from movie screens around the world. Legacy. Enzo Stiola's legacy is not vast in terms of film credits or awards, but it is profound in meaning. His performance in Bicycle Thieves has endured for nearly 80 years, still capable of moving audiences across cultures and generations. Directors like Martin Scorsese, Akira Kurosawa, and Satyajit Ray cited Bicycle Thieves as a formative influence, and by extension, they honored Stiola's role in shaping their cinematic vision. Moreover, his brief career remains a blueprint for cinematic realism. In an age dominated by celebrity, special effects, and polish, Stiola's performance reminds filmmakers and audiences of a simpler, perhaps purer, form of storytelling. Truth captured in the face of a child. Selected filmography. Bicycle Thieves, 1948, Bruno Ricci. Vulcano, 1950, Nino. The White Line, 1950, Pasqualino. The Return of Don Camillo, 1953, Mario Cagnola. The Barefoot Contessa, 1954, Busboy. The Pajama Girl Case, 1977, minor role, final film appearance. Enzo Stiola may have left the limelight early, but his light has never dimmed. His portrayal of Bruno remains one of the most unforgettable in world cinema. A child who never pretended to be anything more than exactly what he was. Huma. Origins and early life. Sasha Sebastian Jenkins was born on August 22, 1971, in Philadelphia. When he was 7, following his parents' separation, he relocated with his mother, Monart Renaud Anne Artist of Haitian heritage, and his sister Dominique to Astoria, Queens. His father, Horace B. Jenkins III, was an Emmy-winning filmmaker and producer for shows like Sesame Street and Black Journal, and also directed the independent drama Cane River, 1982, before passing away that same year. Graffiti and journalism roots. In his teens, Jenkins launched Graphic Scenes and Explicit Language, one of the earliest underground zines dedicated to graffiti culture. In 1992, alongside childhood friend Haji Akigbadi, he co-founded Beatdown, widely recognized as the first hip-hop newspaper. Building on this momentum, Sasha teamed with Haji, editor Elliot Wilson, Jeff Chairman Mao, Brent Rollins, and Gabe Alvarez to launch Ego Trip magazine in 1994. Though it only ran 13 issues, Ego Trip became a critical voice in 1990s hip-hop, skateboarding, punk, and graffiti, mixing sharp cultural critique with irreverent humor. The brand's legacy extended into books like Ego Trip's Book of Rap Lists, 1999, and Ego Trip's Big Book of Racism, 2002, and TV shows such as The White Rapper Show, 2007, and Miss Rap Supreme, 2008, produced for VH1. Magazine and writing career. Between 1997 and 2000, Jenkins worked as music editor and writer-at-large at Vibe, and also contributed to major music publications including Spin and Rolling Stone. Transition to film and documentaries. Jenkins's transition to film felt seamless. His journalism background naturally evolved into documentary storytelling. He served as a writer-consultant on The Boondocks and executive producer of 50 Cent, The Origin of Me, 2011. Mass appeal and curatorial work. In 2012, Jenkins became Chief Creative Officer and later Creative Director at Mass Appeal, guiding its multimedia expansion across film, digital, publishing, and brand partnerships. Artistic and musical pursuits. A true Renaissance figure, Sasha also expressed himself musically. He performed with rock-rap band The White Mandingos, featuring Murs and Daryl Jennifer, and later with the 1865 praised by Vernon Reid as the only band that matters. His visual work extended into galleries exhibiting collaborative graffiti paintings in shows like Writers' Convention, 2005, Right on Brothers, 2007, and Rite of Passage, 2013, with Red Bull Studios. Personal life. Jenkins was married to author-filmmaker Raquel Cepeda, and together they had 2 children. His son Marceau, and Raquel's daughter, Jolly Brown Cepeda, whom Sasha nurtured as his own stepdaughter. Philosophy and cultural impact. Sasha Jenkins championed a philosophy of by us, for us, the necessity for black and brown creators to shape and own their cultural narrative. He once told OK Player, "I feel like I'm doing what I was doing when I was writing for Vibe or Ego Trip. It's the same idea, just with more people helping execute." Legacy. Sasha Jenkins's storied career from underground zines and mag editing to directing acclaimed documentaries and curating cultural exhibitions, with ventures in music and art, made him a cornerstone of hip-hop culture. He reshaped the narrative around black artistry and media control, influencing a generation of journalists, filmmakers, and curators. As journalist Stereo Williams observed, Jenkins wasn't just a commentator, he was an active, engaged participant, one of hip-hop's greatest journalistic voices because he didn't just write about the art, he lived it. Marc Garneau, A Life of Service in Science, Space, and Government. Marc Garneau, born February 23, 1949, in Quebec City. Quebec is one of Canada's most accomplished public figures, recognized for his pioneering contributions to science, space exploration, and public service. As the first Canadian in space, a distinguished naval officer and a dedicated member of Parliament, Garneau's life reflects a deep commitment to exploration, leadership, and national service. Early life and education. Joseph Jean-Pierre Marc Garneau was raised in Quebec City in a Francophone family. He showed early interest in science and engineering, and his academic journey was marked by excellence from the start. Garneau attended Royal Military College of Canada, RMC, in Kingston, Ontario, graduating in 1970 with a Bachelor of Science in Engineering Physics. Following this, Garneau pursued postgraduate studies in the United Kingdom, where he earned a PhD in electrical engineering from the Imperial College of Science and Technology, London, in 1973. His doctoral research focused on remote sensing, an area that would later align well with his work in space technology. Military career. Upon returning to Canada, Garneau began his military career as a combat systems engineer in the Royal Canadian Navy. Rising through the ranks, he served in various technical and leadership roles on naval ships and onshore installations, including work on developing systems for Canadian destroyers. His naval career provided him with a disciplined, analytical approach and a solid foundation in complex systems engineering. He achieved the rank of Captain Navy before transitioning to civilian life. Throughout his military service, Garneau was respected not just for his technical expertise, but also for his leadership and integrity. Canada's first astronaut. In 1983, Marc Garneau was selected as one of 6 Canadian astronauts by the newly established Canadian Astronaut Program, CAP. Just a year later, on October 5, 1984, he made history as the first Canadian in space aboard NASA's Space Shuttle Challenger, STS-41G. As a payload specialist, Garneau conducted a series of scientific experiments during the 8-day mission. His historic journey not only marked a milestone for Canadian space science, but also inspired a new generation of Canadians to pursue careers in science and technology. Following this initial mission, Garneau continued his involvement in Canada's space program. In 1989, he was appointed Deputy Director of the CAP and then became its director in 1992. During his tenure, he was instrumental in shaping Canada's astronaut corps and strengthening the country's contributions to international space missions. Garneau returned to space 2 more times as a mission specialist, on STS-77, 1996, and STS-97, 2000, both aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavour. These missions involved space station assembly and scientific research, further demonstrating his capabilities as a scientist and leader. Over the course of his astronaut career, Garneau logged over 677 hours in space. President of the Canadian Space Agency. In 2001, Garneau was appointed President of the Canadian Space Agency, CSA, becoming the first astronaut to lead the organization. He served in this role until 2005. During his presidency, he advocated for a stronger Canadian presence in international space collaborations and helped oversee key programs, including Canada's contributions to the International Space Station. Under Garneau's leadership, the CSA invested in space robotics, Earth observation, and astronaut training. He was a strong proponent of Canada's robotic systems, such as the Canadarm2, which became a vital component of space station operations. Entry into politics. In 2006, Garneau left the CSA to pursue a career in politics, seeking to bring his experience in science and public service to government. He ran unsuccessfully for a seat in the House of Commons in 2006, but was elected in the 2008